welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that's trying to bungee jump its way into our hearts. That's right, I'm talking about X on the Beach Peak of Love, episode 10. That's right, 10 weeks has gone by and no X has been seen for Tyranny. How crazy is that? But let's get on to this week's episode, and we're going to start off with talking about Adore and Tyler's relationship and the kind of fragmentation that's happening between Adore and Ledemi's friendship because of this. Ledemi posted concerns to Adore saying, hey, I think he's just trying to do this to stay in the house and to stay relevant. And Tyler is reassuring Adore that that's not the case, that he really wants to get to know him. And it's putting a real strain on the relationship, all the way to the fact that at the end of the episode, Adore and Ledemi were actually getting into a fight. But before we go more into that, let's put a pin in that and go on to another thing that happened in this house, and that was Ryan and Magdalena coming back in from the house. If you don't remember last episode, Ryan and Magdalena had to leave because there was a family emergency, and now he's back, and it just left me thinking, why? Why are you back? I get that you want to be on the show and you left, but it just seems like you were gone for like half a day, maybe an afternoon, and then you came back the next day. It just, I don't know. I'm so happy that the family emergency is A-okay. I just don't understand, if you're okay with one another, why come back into the house where you could possibly be split apart? I don't understand, but hey, that's not my place. I'm so happy everything's okay. Now let's go on to the next thing, and that was Allie still confused between Carlos and Niall. And that's essentially all that she says. She gets 30 seconds of screen time in a confessional and she says that, essentially. So let's go into the main subplot for this episode, and that was when they were conveniently talking about what would happen if Callum's ex were to come into the house. That's when the alarm rings to choose 3 people to go down to the peak to see whose ex is going to be coming into the house. The 3 people picked are Callum, Niall, and Tyler. And as the boys are sitting there on the peak, that's when Romeo comes up and says, hey, time for this ex to come down and reveal themselves. And of course they come down to reveal themselves to be none other than Callum's first love, Paris. That's right, they've dated for about 2 years, and she says specifically in the hot tub that she is here for Callum's love, for Callum's heart, to rekindle things with Callum, and she won't take no for an answer. But as she's in the chalet, Georgia instantly does not take this news lightly whatsoever. She is upset. Callum reassures her that there's nobody that's going to get in between them. And it's fine until Callum and Paris were talking, kind of like alone together, and that's when Georgia storms off. Callum has to reassure her that nothing's going to come between them, and essentially everything's fine after that. They just had a few roadblocks. And Paris, who was really into Callum for the first 6 hours in the chalet, is now on to a new prey, Sam Bad. That's right. And that takes us into the next subplot of this episode, and that was with Sam and Tyranny. Now, since Sam walked into the house, he's been around Tyranny, and they've been pretty much together, glued together since he walked in. They've been going hot and heavy, and he's been trying to tell her throughout the game that, hey, if somebody comes into the house, I kind of want to just chat them up and see where that goes. And just to let you know, this, I don't view this as super serious as you may view this. Well, that is exactly what happens, especially when Paris comes in and he's talking to Jemmy and he's talking to Niall, and he's like, hey, if I get the fire date, I'm gonna take Paris. And Jemmy's like, we can make that happen. So she rigs up the votes, tells everybody to vote for Sam. They do. Sam gets the fire date for this episode, and instead of picking Tyranny, he picks the new girl, Paris. And they're magically whisked off to have a date where they go bungee jump off a bridge and have a tiny table of hors d'oeuvres. And they talk and they're like, hey, we want to get to know each other. Hey, and then she's like, Callum who? And he's like, oh, don't worry about him. Let's just hang out together. And she's like, yeah, let's have a bit of banter and crack on. Let's see if we can chat a bit. You know, I fancy you too. And they kind of do that song and dance. They come back into the chalet, tell everybody about their magical fantasy date. And that's when Ryan puts in his 2 cents of hey, why didn't you take Tyranny? and the whole chalet is like, ooh, this is a bit awkward. Sam essentially just talks in a big old circle until everybody's like, okay, sure, whatever. The accent is, it's totally distracting. Tyranny wants some answers, but Sam doesn't have any answers for her because it wasn't really that serious to him. So he just wants to crack on with Paris. Everybody does this Lord of the Rings party. It's essentially pretty decent. It's okay. Nothing really happens until afterwards when Adore and Ledemi are getting ready for bed and they start having a fight. And that's where this episode ends. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. Do you think we will ever see an X for Tyranny before this season ends? Let me know that in the comment section below. Right now on Wikipedia, there is only one episode left that they have up there, and it's episode 11. It's gonna be really awkward and weird if this all ends next week, where just a lot of people are just like kind of walking around the house, not doing a whole lot. But what do you think about it? Let me know that in the comment section below. And what did you think about this episode? What do you think about Tyler and Adore's relationship? Do you think it's genuine, or do you think Ledemi has some facts in there? Let me know that in the comment section below. Do you think Allie will ever choose between Niall and Carlos? Let me know that in the comment section below. And yeah, do you think Callum and Georgia are the real deal? It seems like they are. No matter what the chalet and what the producer's throwing at them, they seem like solid as a rock. But what do you think about it? Let me know that in the comment section below. I want to hear what you have to say. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more challenge videos, more challenge content, more videos in general. And join me next week for another review and recap on X on the Beach Peak of Love. But until then, peace!